Can we have the warmest welcome for our speakers, please? Thank you so much for being here. Yeah. And how are you guys doing today? Good? I can't quite hear you. Yes, are we doing good today? Yes, very nice. Okay, so let's get to it. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone that this is a safe space, yeah, for us to share our experiences and create positive feedback loops and learn new things together. So if at any point of time you have any questions, don't be shy, raise your hands, ask our speakers anything, and we're here to serve, yeah? Let's get to it. One of the first things that we want to talk about is the mind-body loop, right? So I think a lot of times we think that our mind and our bodies are separate and that they work differently, but that's what I want to clarify with you today. How does our physical health affect our mental well-being and vice versa, the other way around? Can we start with you, Kevin?
A healthy mind, a healthy body is something that we always talk about in our programs. I think it always works hand in hand. And another thing we always talk about in our programs is I ask the audience, you know, among all the athletes in the world, which athlete do you think is the fittest among all athletes? Just try and guess. Which sport? The healthiest athletes or among the fittest are the Formula One drivers. But if you think about it, they are constantly in life and death situations. They cannot switch off. Every corner, every loop is high risk. One drivers are among the fittest, not just mentally, but physically. They have to endure the G-forces for the entire race. So last anywhere between half an hour or longer, but it's always very high risk, very high stake. They are a prime example of the Minda Cerdas Badan Cergas, because once your body starts to fade, the mind gives way as well, and vice versa.
So Formula One drivers have one of the best, fastest reflexes, yes? As well. Think fast, move really fast, and everything has to work like a machine. So Yasmin, continuing this question, how does our mental health then affect the way we take care of our physical being?
Oh, of course. I mean, our mental health is really important. People tend to neglect the mental health side. I mean, if you are having physical health issues as well, that can have a strain on your mental health. You would become stressed, you would feel depressed, you would have anxiety, and these things are really common. So honestly, for me, they just go really hand in hand. And they can't be neglected because it's how you take care of your overall well-being.
So they're both equally as important, your physical health and your mental health. So we'll move on to the next question, which is one of the issues that I think we've been waiting to have more information about, is what are some common stressors that women often face in the workplace? So audience, if you would like to share some of your experiences on what stresses you at the workplace as well, please come to the front and share, have a sharing. Tell us what kind of stresses you face in the workplace, and maybe we can share some solutions to it and we can understand each other a little better.
Hello, my name is Khairul Anwar, or people call me KA from BE International.
Hello.
So I just went through a rough time. I just lost my mother and also my family. So, but luckily I have a great circle around me that I can bring up myself. But suddenly, sometimes I feel like whenever I'm alone, I always cry, always missing my mother, my kid, especially because sometimes I feel like I don't have anyone in this world. So can you guys please give me some tips of encouragement how to get back myself up? Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. That's a really good question. Can we start with that? Let's share some tips about how we can.
I don't know if the mic is working on that.
Yeah, it's working.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't get your name. Sorry. K-A and KZ, right? Yeah. I see you. Thank you, KA, for the question. Yeah, it's a heavy one. And I was talking to Tasnim. Where's Tasnim? Tasnim, yeah, I talked with Tasnim earlier today. She's from Sinar Daily as well. I hope that you will remember your mom for as long as forever lah. But it's that balance of grieving and living and coping and moving on so that it becomes a balance that makes you happy while remembering your mom as well. I lost my mom 20 years ago, and we have 4 hours today, right? For the session. I lost my mother under very difficult circumstances 20 years ago. My father, when he passed, it was, in hindsight, a blessing. We spent a month together, being together at the hospital. We all knew it was coming. On my mom's side, 20 years ago, it was a very different story. Very quick, very abrupt, very brutal, very painful. I was much younger. I didn't have the experience of grieving at a younger age. And you are still very young, K.A., 22. Yeah, so age does play a factor. But long story short, when my mom passed, I had a lot of issues within myself, and I was 22 years old. And some of you in the audience are younger than perhaps myself. But when I was that age, I was struggling, crying. I was alone in the US, final year in university. I was by myself. So friends didn't know how to approach. They didn't know whether I want my space. They didn't know whether I wanted somebody to be there. So communicating with your friends what you need is really important. If they do reach out and you appreciate it, you have to let them know that you appreciate it so that they don't feel like they are bothering your space. Because you say you feel alone. But if you don't reach out and sort of angkat tangan like you're doing right now, and big applause for KA, yeah, for speaking out today. I think it's not easy. But long story short, again, when I was in the dark hole, when I was very young, in the US, in my early 20s, a lot of issues with the world in general, I told myself two things. And I remember this day very clearly. I was in the bathroom of my small little rented apartment in Boston, and I looked in the mirror and I was crying. I told myself two things. I said, Kevin, A, you can let this loss really pull you into a dark place. Very easy. You can do a lot of stupid things and becomes worse. Or number two, I can learn from the experience and try to honor my mom's life by doing good. So everything I do in my life since that day is to honor my mother. I teach people, I help people, I try to do good things, education. So I channel a lot of this grief into positivity. So that it helps me find a balance without losing the pain of having lost a loved one, which is my mom, and then now my dad. I can tell you very honestly, having lost my dad last month, I feel a lot easier dealing with the grief because I've been through the experience many times. I've lost my mother. I've lost my brother through suicide. My brother took his own life in his early 20s. I lost my grandfather through suicide. So I've been through several losses in life. It doesn't get any easier, but you've been through the feelings before. So for me now, I know how to cope a lot better than I was in my 20s. For my sister, she's in her mid-30s, her first big loss, very tough. And I reach out to her to see how she's doing. I ask her, how are you doing? And she will just put up the facade, I'm okay, but I know she's not okay. And it's okay not to be okay.
Yes, thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin, for sharing that with us. Yasmin, what is your take on that? On how we can reach out and how we can recognize when we are in cycles of grief and we are in cycles of difficulties, and so that we don't revert to coping mechanisms that will make us feel a little bit more lonely. How can we find those connections within our circles and start reaching out for ourselves?
So I would really advise, I mean, it's really important the minute you start having these lonely emotions, that feeling that you feel like, I'm alone, I don't know what to do, reach out. Reach out, even if your friends might not understand, your family might not understand. There are professionals that can help you out through it as well. Because it's really essential to have the human connection. I mean, that is something that we lost. There's a void. And to fill that void is to have that human connection again, a healthy one. I'm not saying go into any other aspects, but to have a professional help you out. Just reach out. It can be about anything. I know there's a lot of stigma about mental health where it's like, you know, you go to a psychiatrist, you gila la or this la, and there's many taboo against this matter, but it's not. I mean, seeing a psychologist or a therapist is essentially a friend, someone to be there for you, someone to give you advice, someone to help you through these emotions that you're dealing with, and you won't feel alone. You will feel that you have that spark to, okay, okay, I can do something. This is what I should do. This is my next action. So
Yeah, I just want to share a funny story. No, it's not funny, but it's related. I'm grieving. Not say I'm grieving right now, but I'm going through a process. I'm talking to KA, yes, but generally. So everybody has different ways to grieve. I do too. My wife has different ways of grieving as well. She feels like I need to cry. And she likes to correct my tears. I tell her, stop correcting feelings from me because I like to cry when I'm alone. I don't like to cry in front of people. But she likes to try and ask me how am I feeling, what are you thinking, there's a picture of your father. She tries to get the feeling out of me, but everybody has different ways to deal with the emotions, and there is no right way or wrong way.
Yeah, I would agree to that because, for example, of recent experience, everyone would turn to me in the family and be like, oh, you're the strong one, you can handle it because you're a CP and you can do... No, I can't. I handle grief completely different from what you all think just because I know in that moment you won't. In that moment we're human. That, okay, we're going to process things completely differently. So yeah, that's...
Okay, so I hear that one of the things that really helps us through this moment, these hard moments, is human connection. So one of the things that we want to take note of is that we're maintaining good human connections and keeping our relationships healthy.
Yeah, when you have human connections, everyone, not just KA, but I wink on this side. But human connections can be very different from person to person. When I am in my grieving process right now, I don't like to make new connections because new connections are exhausting. And when you are grieving, you want to be in a comfortable space. So I try to, let's say I'm walking down Mount Kiara where I stay, and I see 50 meters down the road, there is a person that I sort of know, and I might have to strike a small talk with him or her, but I don't want to talk because I'm grieving right now. I will turn around and go the other way because I sometimes want to avoid human connections with people that may churi my emotional energy versus trying to replenish it, if that makes sense.
Agreed.
It's good. I'm doing a good job here.
Great.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's circle this back to women finding stresses in the workforce, right? We understand that our relationships need to be healthy, and we need to be creating healthy connections. How do we tie that back to what women experience in the workforce and the difficulties that they also go through in the workforce? So we grieve at home, we go through tough situations, we also have to go through tough dynamics at work. How can we cope a little better with that?
So how can we cope with it?
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, what I would say is if you're having a hard time dealing with the work-life balance of your personal life and your work life, reach out. I mean, there is someone to talk to. That could be your team leader, your superior, someone higher up. Just mention...
Moving too much.
Sorry. Just mention that, you know, you're not doing okay, that you are struggling. And that way, at least someone hears you and knows what's going on. Otherwise, you're keeping it all inside, and then other people have expectations of you at work, and then what's going to happen? You know, you don't do your work on time, or you feel like work is getting too challenging. So voice it out. Speak up about it. A lot of people tend to keep it inside, but it's really good for you to tell someone what exactly is going on. And that's the best way for me that you can cope with it, because you're bringing awareness to the situation. And that is something that is key.
Yeah, I think when I was grieving recently and I had to deal with, I had to communicate with people from Sinar Daily about this event. They don't know what you're going through.
Yeah.
They have no clue what's happening. They don't know how you're feeling. And you cannot assume that people will understand what you're going through. So it's really important that you communicate with them. Hey, I lost my father, I lost my mother, I lost my brother, so that they understand where you're at. I don't really have time right now to deal with this. I have other things that need my attention, so that you treat them fairly, so that they don't make false assumptions. So communication is super important, and it's okay to say no. If they want something of you that you don't have the capacity for, just like we had our Google Meet recently, I didn't have much time, so I have to tell I cannot stay beyond a certain time because I have to do so and so that you take care of your space, you respect theirs, but you make them aware of your boundaries. But if you do not tell them what your boundaries are, people will overstep them. And we live in a
country where we hold on to Eastern values. We don't like confrontations. We don't like conflict. We don't like to say no to people that perhaps are superior in a working environment. But it's important to know how to say no so that you build boundaries. But you have to say no consistently. Wait. Communication, right? Wait.
On the question of boundaries, it's a very interesting that you brought up, right? And you also mentioned Eastern values culturally. I have to bring it back to the mind-body loop, okay? But on the topic of boundaries, we are in a culture that discusses our appearance and our size very often. And we are the most obese country in the ASEAN region. So I want to talk about how this creates a mental load in us that we might not be aware of, and it affects our self-esteem, right? So one more question is, does our body size actually play a role in our mental health? And is that a good gauge of health?
From my side, from my side first, I would like to say that mental health is universal. I mean, I don't think we should go into specifics of body type and body appearance because it does affect everyone. Yes, obese or stick thin is more prone to maybe having more unique challenges like more discrimination, more stigma. However, again, I'm tying it to the fact that it does affect every single person. But of course, like I said, if you are having struggles, it can also affect physical health-wise, which can lead to further problems like depression, anxiety, body dysmorphia, eating disorders. Yeah.
Does the body size, is the body size a good gauge of health?
Sudah kurus ke belum? Ada harapan? Ada. It's nobody is really 100% happy with their physical appearance. I have a lot of friends who are bodybuilders. They, in your eyes, look amazing, but they are extremely critical about their own body image, and they struggle themselves. They feel embarrassed that they are not in super duper shape. And for me, I say a lot of things. I always say that if you are slightly obese and you mandi buka tuala and you cermin diri, pernah? And you are happy with what you see, that for me is so much more important than what the number on the scale says. If the number on the scale is perfect, but you don't like what you see in the mirror for whatever reason, then it doesn't work as well. So we have a saying in our program called suka hati engkau. At the end of the day, as long as it makes you happy, that's the most important thing, because we don't thrive for berat badan yang ideal. We thrive to be happy. Yeah. I think that's the journey of my life, is to be happy.
Do what makes you feel good.
Makes you feel good, but that includes the body image as well, one way or another, but it doesn't have to be perfect. If you thrive for perfection, it's a very, very dangerous journey that you probably will never get to in the first place.
Okay, thank you. So about body size, we also start talking about diets a lot of the time, right? There's always like a fad, there's a diet that's trending, and then there's no carbs, and there's all sorts of things. There's one meal a day. Let's talk about how our dietary habits actually can impact our mental and physical health.
What was the question again? I'm just kidding. I got it. Social media can be a great place. Social media can be a terrible place, because it throws at you so much information about what is trendy, what is in, what is out, and it can be very misleading to many people who are looking at social media for a source of information, because there's just so much. Whether you go on diet A or diet B, no sugar, too much sugar, IF, keto, Atkins, Hollywood, Bollywood, it's really suka hati engkau. There is no right way or the wrong way. If you go on a diet that's very extreme, the question I always have, berapa lama engkau? You can do it maybe for a short period of time, but if ultimately the diet doesn't make you happy, it doesn't really solve the problem per se.
The diet doesn't stick either.
It has the success is in consistency, or what we call the istiqomah. The istiqomah is the one that's going to drive success. But in order to get to this istiqomah, there's a lot of trial and error. But if you just follow what people say, follow what people do, you're never really in control of your own journey. It becomes very, very stressful. So in our program, we always focus on education, have a fundamental know-how so that you can sort of empower yourself to own the pemakanan and the diet and the exercise so that you have a moderate approach. But the problem with moderation in this world, and I told Tasnim this earlier. Tasnim, where are you? What did I tell you earlier? What's the problem with moderation? What were you doing when I was talking to you? What's the problem with being in the middle? It's boring. People don't like to know about what is moderate. People don't like to be rich in 30 years. People don't want to lose 10 kilos in 5 years. They want to lose it tomorrow. They want to lose it now. Kurus cepat, kaya cepat, putih cepat. Berdoa je lah. That is the problem, that people want it quick.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. And the boring reality is it's going to take time. But if you trust the process and you understand what you're doing, make it a life commitment, and then it becomes easy.
Would you recommend that we also commit ourselves to being a little bit better informed about what we're eating?
Better is a
Yeah.
very subjective word. Better to me?
How does
better
that
to
research go
you?
around?
See,
Better for ourselves personally.
But better doesn't mean anything unless you know where you are and where you want to be. Better nutrition for Novak Djokovic has a very different meaning than better nutrition for me. Versus you, versus everybody else, because we follow people on social media because they are inspiring, they have a lot of followers, and they look amazing, but they have very different goals than what you have. So a person who goes on a keto, Atkins, or no sugar diet, you have to question what is their objective and what is your objective, and make it about you. Don't make it about them. Mental health is about you. Is that correct?
Correct.
I don't know. Just asking.
That's
So it's
interesting.
a saying in our program, and we have so many sayings again, sorry. It's you versus you. It's you versus you. It's not about you versus orang lain. You can get inspired by what they do, but ultimately you have to know what you want for yourself. And better for you, again, means something very unique. Better for you or better for me means very different and unique things. Yeah.
So, okay, Yasmin, actually, I have a question for you. In understanding what is better for ourselves and what is better for other people are two very different things. I think culturally, we have some dietary habits that we all really enjoy, right? So what are some eating habits in our culture that might be affecting our moods and productivity in ways that we might not be aware of?
Typical foods.
Foods, yeah. Or eating habits that could be affecting our moods and our productivity in ways that we might not be aware of.
Okay, see, when it comes to foods, I love food. For me, my opinion on food is you can eat what you want to eat, but as long as you're fit. And make sure your mind as well is, enjoying what you're eating and enjoying what you're having. I mean, if you want a dessert, have a dessert. So for me, yes, food is important to have, and it can affect your mental health in many ways. I mean, like if you eat, for example, rice early in the morning, like our nasi lemak, and then we feel that sudden like, oh, I'm very full, and then you go into a daze. Yes, that can affect us, for example, during work. But at the end of the day, if you yourself know, okay, I'm going to eat this food for me to have my energy in the morning, and then I'm okay for work, then that's okay. So for me, with food groups, I would really say.
Okay, I understand.
Can I add something? Sorry.
Yes,
Sorry,
one
ladies.
sentence.
Sorry, ladies. Now is musim durian, yes? Yes? Yes or no? Yes, no, or don't know?
Yes.
Can you eat durian? Yes or no? How, what? But what is moderation? Moderation is the same thing as the word better. It can mean 1,000 things to different people. So if you buy durian, how much are you supposed to makan? Can you makan sedurian?
No.
Suka hati kau, but
Do you think a good question is what is puas?
it's not puas. Puas is, but if you're puas, it's too late. You have to stop before you puas. But the durian, the problem with durian is not the durian. The problem is that you cannot makan seulas dua. You cannot just eat one or two. Why? Because you bought it at the side road. It smells. You cannot take it back home. You are stuck with the sedurian. So the problem is always not about durian or sugar. It's about excess. It's about eating too much. Eating too much of anything is going to create a problem. If you kosongkan dia, it goes back to the Tasnim question just now. Moderation is boring. So if you go extreme, no sugar, or all the way sugar, both of these are lose-lose situations. We always emphasize on makan lah, but somewhere in the middle, and you have to trust the process that's going to work for what you define as better, but you have to have a fundamental understanding about what nutrition and pemakanan is all about.
Thank you, Kevin.
Makan lah.
Makanlah. Okay. So between being informed about a good diet, between handling our stressors at work and taking care of ourselves and communicating with others, it all can seem like a lot most days. And for women, I understand we wear many hats. We're mothers, we're sisters, we are bosses, and we have full-time jobs, and the world moves really fast these days. Lifestyles, work expectations are demanding. So between taking care of business, our families, and ourselves, all of that, how do you recommend we create time to practice self-care in our days without feeling like we are chasing for more time?
Well, number one, prioritize it. Prioritize your self-care and self-love. Make it something that's non-negotiable in your routine. I mean, I know a lot of people that say, oh, I don't have the time, but have you really made the time? Have you set yourself like a task at work, like, okay, I'm going to spend 1 hour at the gym right now to do my Pilates, to do my yoga, or I'm gonna do 1 hour for my bath time and enjoy my downtime. So set that, prioritize and set that self-care and self-love for yourself. And set your boundaries as well. Know when work is too much. Know when things are getting much in your plate. Take that time off. Sometimes we don't know where our boundaries are, but if you already start to feel like, oh my God, this is too much, I'm overwhelmed, I can't handle it, that means take a break. That means go do something that you love. Go do something that will make you feel a lot better.
And to understand that it's completely okay to take breaks without feeling guilty about it sometimes,
exactly.
yes?
We need it. We're humans. We can't be robotic.
Absolutely necessary to grace ourselves with break times. I have another question, is that for some of us, we feel like there is absolutely no more time to fit other activities during the day. And we might not be aware because we're going from one activity to another, and then we might be doing something that's we think is de-stressing, that might not be so good for us, which is scrolling on our phones. How do we catch ourselves in that moment? That we're doom scrolling and that we should stop, and then what can we do otherwise? What is the alternative activity that we can do during that time? You both have good answers. I
mean, social media, everyone scrolls on social media. Something I did to stop myself from doom scrolling is I put the timer on the iPhone, you know, the lock the app after a certain period of time.
Boring.
Oh, it helped me. But honestly, that was my opinion on how to actually.
Kevin, you have a more fun solution?
Get off your phone.
Again, this is you versus you. If I don't spend much time on social media at all because I hate it. If I may say so.
We have a question. Yeah, let's hear that question.
Hello. Hello. My name is Ruzi. I'm from Sinar.
Hi.
Okay. My question is regarding the office pressure. My boss is here. Let him hear it. I was joking. Okay. What are the signals for work pressure that we need to stop? Our body cannot take it anymore and we need to stop. What are the signals? That's all. Okay.
You want to try? I try.
You go.
I try. Rosie, yeah? Rosie. Okay, Rosie. I wanna use the metaphor that Jasmine used, which is the plate. Imagine your life is a plate, and every chore, every task, and you mentioned that women wear many hats. So now let's take the hat but make it into a little ball. A little marble. So imagine your life, you have a plate and you have a lot of marbles on your plate. Sometimes certain marbles like your family, money, social media, weather, work, things get in the way and the marbles tend to get overwhelming. What I always try to do, when I imagine my plate, I always try to take out as many things as I can so that I only have to juggle 2 or 3 or 4 marbles at a time. We live in a world today, and the reason why I think mental health is so overwhelming is so that because we have so many marbles to juggle with social media. People have more than one job. I have my kids as teachers whose Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp profile is cookies and tudung and all because they now have 2 or 3 jobs. It's stressful. So for Rosie, sometimes it's not always the job that's overwhelming. It can be a catalyst or a combination of all of these marbles that are now overwhelming your plate. So you have to take a step back, look at your plate. What is causing things to get too heavy? Is it just the work? Is it your boss at work? Is it the school holidays plus the job? Is it school holidays plus the job, plus money, plus the second job? What is the thing that's causing things to get too much? Once you identify that trigger, then you can plan to sort of remove it. If you cannot remove anything, and the job is the one that is causing things to get a little bit overwhelming, ask yourself, is this going to be a chronic situation or an acute situation? Acute means it's musim tax la, musim cuti la, musim raya la, where work can get overwhelmingly busy in a 2-3 week window. If it's short term, you can tell yourself, I'm just going to grind through it. After 2-3 weeks, it's back to sort of normal. If it's chronic, that means it's bulan ke bulan, minggu ke minggu, tahun ke tahun. It's just not giving you a work-life balance that you are looking for. Then it's time to sort of perhaps see what there needs change. Whether it's the job environment, communication with your boss, something has to give, but you have to identify what it is so that you can work towards a solution step by step.
Thank you, Kevin. We have one more question from the floor. Let's go for it.
Hi, my name is Diana.
Hello, Diana.
I'm from another media house, but I'm here on leave. I have a question. I'm in my late 30s and I'm a mother of 3 and I have my own fitness journey, mental health journey and everything else. But I always wonder, how do you determine how healthy you are? Because for me, I'm a coffee enthusiast. I have an addiction towards coffee. So I have to have at least 1 cup of coffee every day. At the same time, I try to be as fit as I can. But I think everyone else in here have their own set of habits. Because I wanted to go back to the part where you mentioned about durian just now. So I bet some people have that sort of wants or habits. So how do you determine that you're actually healthy if you have these kind of addiction? I'm not talking about cigarettes or whatever, more to consumption in terms of food or drinks.
Caffeine, coffee, ke?
Caffeine, chocolate, desserts.
Okay, let me ask you your name. Sorry, your name again is?
Diana.
Diana.
Yes.
Do you mind if I?
Yes, take it.
So Diana, let's say coffee at the back. Worrying right now. What is going to happen to us? Shop close. I'm sure many of you here are coffee lovers. Yes?
Yeah.
Give me a yes.
Yes.
Yes. So now, what's the problem with coffee?
Caffeine addiction.
What is the problem? Now, if we are looking at an addiction, what is causing the addiction in coffee? Caffeine. So now, is caffeine addictive? Yes or no?
Yes.
Is it the same addiction as with nicotine? Not quite. It's not quite. Now, if you have done Ramadan before, you can stay there, Rosie. Stay there. You burn more calories when you stand. Now, caffeine has a short-term withdrawal window. Very, very quick. If you do Ramadan and you're used to your normal morning caffeine fix, the first 2 days is like, Ya Allah, everything is just wrong and everything hurts and you cannot see bright light. We call it the Dracula effect and all. But you cannot see the sun for 2-3 days. But after that, you're okay. Because the caffeine withdrawal is very, very quick. It's not like nicotine, which is very long and different. So now, how many cups of coffees do you drink per day?
I have my barista somewhere here. I hope he's not gonna like kantoi I. Maximum 3 per day.
Okay, 3. You're talking about 3 Nescafe Gold, Nescafe yang murah or yang
No.
Americano kau meletup?
I'm a flat white drinker.
Flat white. Okay,
Yeah.
so flat white with 1 espresso shot. Yeah, sorry
Or
guys,
double.
I'm using some coffee lingo over here.
Depends.
So if you drink
sometimes
3,
double shot, sometimes single
so
shot.
3, let's say 3 single or double shots of white flat white per day.
Yes.
Is that too much, too little, or just nice?
It's normal, guys, right?
Yeah, for me, it's normal. Now, is caffeine good or no good? Depends on what you're looking for. Caffeine is a stimulant, which gives you a little bit of that metabolic boost. It increases your heart rate a little bit. It's a stimulant, whether you like it or not. It has its purpose, especially pre-workout, post-workout, to give you a little bit of the energy boost in the mornings as well. If it's too much at night, then you feel insomnia, and then you cannot sleep. That's what you don't want. So if you are caffeine sensitive, you can have your coffees in the morning, 1 to 2, 3 cups a day. Avoid it in the evenings when you want to go to sleep. Would you be better off without coffee? Yes or no?
No.
Yes or no? Don't know.
No.
We are live around the world right now, right? Yes. Now, what is the goal of life, Jasmine? We want to be
Happy.
You want to be happy.
Yes.
Does the caffeine make you happy?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Applause for the caffeine. Now, would you be happier without coffee? I don't know. If it makes you happy to be without coffee, and I have friends who've quit coffee all the way because they cannot mediate the too much or nothing, but they're happy with nothing and they feel great. I tell them, you're good for you, but let me have my coffee while I still want to, but in moderation. I used to have my own coffee machine at home, but then there was too much of the, wait first. But then I switched from the heavier espresso type coffees to the lesser caffeine per drink Nescafe Gold or instant coffees, because the amount of caffeine in the instant coffees are lesser than your espresso shots. So you can sort of look at how much caffeine is in various drinks, and if you want to reduce the caffeine intake to reduce the stimulant effect on your body, just switch to a milder coffee.
Without compromising on flavor, I hope.
Without compromising your flavor, that floats your boat. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for that. I
Thank
hope you
you.
got the answer
Yeah.
that she wanted. As long as it doesn't affect your sleep and it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
So you-
Health is not about perfection. Mental health is not about perfection. You will never be 100% happy. This is again the Tasnim story of being somewhere in the middle. Your choices of pemakanan have to be some that are healthy, some that make you happy. If your durian makes you happy, go for it. If you like your Nescafe Tare or pisang goreng, go for it. But everything in moderation, so that when you wake up in the morning, take a shower, you buka tuala, and you cermin diri, that you agak gembira dengan the reflection of the mirror. If you're not, then tweak things so that it makes the journey more meaningful.
So regulation is a big part of that. Self-regulation. Talking about self-regulation, I'm going to circle back to some workplace dynamics earlier because Rosie brought it up earlier. Quick one. How can we gauge if we are limiting ourselves at the workplace or the environment is the one that's limiting us? And is poor mental health a good excuse for poor behavior? Because we see these people diagnosing themselves on Instagram and TikTok all the time, and then they might not be performing to their best potential in productivity. So what's your take on that?
Okay, well, first, do not self-diagnose yourself. This is to everyone. Please, please, please go get yourself actually diagnosed by a clinical psychologist or a psychiatrist and make sure it's sufficient. Please do not use it as an excuse. It does tend to happen a lot at work. I heard a lot about that, but honestly, mental health is not an excuse for your poor behavior attitude. I can agree, yes, some mental health conditions does have an impact on your behavior and your actions, but that's the thing. It's an individual's responsibility. You yourself need to take that action to make sure you're seeking help and actually getting treatment for your mental health. So then that way you yourself are working towards your actions and your behaviors, and that way you don't harm yourself and you don't harm other people. And that is essential. I would really like to reiterate on the fact that it is very easy for people to also say, oh, I'm depressed. Oh, I'm anxious. Oh, I have ADHD, because on TikTok or Instagram, it shows so many things about diagnosing yourself, like all the traits and everything. Please, please, please do take that with a pinch of salt. It is not an actual diagnosis. It is just simple symptoms and traits that you might have that you may or might have ADHD or anxiety or depression or stress. So if you do see any of those symptoms that come about and you feel like, okay, this is me, instead of saying it out loud to everyone, go book yourself a session first and get yourself diagnosed first, because it's not good to make excuses that can be harmful for yourself and to other people around you.
It might not even be the real problem,
no,
right?
No, it's not, yeah.
Yes. Kevin, you're a motivational speaker. What's your take on that?
I have a story to share. During COVID, everybody was stressed. And it was a very unusual situation that we did not know what would happen, how long it would be for, and lots of unknowns. So we engaged the clinical psychologist online, first time for the family. And we had individual sessions with myself, my wife, as a couple, and the kids individually, so that we sort of learn how do they feel about COVID. Because my kids don't know how to communicate things emotionally yet, because they're still young. So we got a psychologist to talk to them very openly, very casually. But the difference between a psychologist talking to you privately with children, they will tell the parents, you know, what was going on. So my kids were fine. I was fine. My wife was so angry. My wife was so angry because, like you said, everybody has issues. Yeah. But not everybody wants to acknowledge the issues. So when we had conversations with everyone, the clinical psychologist said to my wife, we need to have more sessions. So we all found it funny because you might have more issues. But my wife took it so personal that she didn't want to speak to her ever again, the clinical psychologist. So if you have mental health, for me, is not something that you should feel frowned upon. It's something that we all feel, go through in life. And the first step for me is always to sort of raise your hand and acknowledge that you are not perfect. You have issues, you have ups and downs, like KA, KZ, and everybody here as well. And sometimes it's good to just have someone to talk to. It's not that they're going to solve the problems for you, but it's a safe space, like what you mentioned earlier, where you can just have someone that listens to you. And one of the things the clinical psychologist did for my wife and I is to teach her how to listen. Because listening is a skill that requires know-how, so that you acknowledge what is being said as opposed to making assumptions about how the person feels without actually acknowledging them and verifying or validating, is that what you are telling me? Because what you say and what you feel and what I hear are not the same thing.
Thank you for that. So we hear that ultimately we are responsible for the energies that we bring into any space. We are responsible over how we feel and how we are taking care of our bodies as well. So I hope that's the takeaway that helps us feel a little more empowered in taking action to be informed, taking action in observing ourselves, and taking the steps to slowly get to places where we feel good, where we feel regulated, and we do feel healthy without always requiring an external reference of what that validation is like. Okay, so from here, thank you, our speakers. We're going to move on to some activities that we're also going to do together. So I think we've learned a lot today. I hope you enjoyed the chat. Can we make some noise for our speakers here today, please? It is crucial to maintain both our physical and mental wellness. But as they say, knowledge is only power when put into action. So we're shifting gears from theory to practice. So audience, and we can do this together as well. Let's list down one thing that you feel a little more confident in being able to handle, okay, in your life after what we've learned here today. And then two things that might have been bothering you or stressing you out lately when it comes to balancing your personal life and your work. And then we can have Kevin and Yasmin share some advice on how we can address these issues if you would like to come up and share. Okay, so we have 3 minutes for this. Let's do it nice and quick. Off the top of your head, don't overthink it.
I'm doing my own business right now. And previously I was an investments analyst, but now I'm doing my business. There are times when I get very overwhelmed and I just like stare at the ceiling and don't do anything, right? But then there are also times when I get a burst of energy and I have a lot of ideas, but then I get overwhelmed as well because I feel like I have so much to do. So how would you advise someone to navigate through that? Yeah, thank you.
So relatable.
That sounds like me. So you are not alone, Zaza. And I just want to say I never met Zaza before today, but I did leave a comment on her Instagram a couple of years ago. Is that correct? Yeah. But when I turned around and I saw her face, like I know you from somewhere. So I'm really happy to meet Zaza here in person. Yeah, the big applause for Zaza. She's also a very inspiring health, fitness role model for a lot of women, especially. Yeah, you being a mom as well and sharing your journey online. And then she has taken the brave step to sort of quit the investment job and that's now full-time in the social media influencer fitness world. Yes, so yeah, what you are going through, what I'm going through is exactly the same. We are very creative. The mind is always thinking about what can I do, what is this, and there's so many opportunities to sort of venture into, and it can get very overwhelming, whether you want to explore the monetary angle to make money first, or do the things that are fun but don't really pay the bills just yet, and it can get a little bit overwhelming. My advice to you is suka hati engkau, because the blessing of working for yourself is that there is no right way or wrong way. You have no one to answer to. And my friends always tell me that I don't plan anything. I sort of just do it. If I feel like I want to do it, I do it. If I want to do A, I do A. If I want to forget about A, I do B. As long as it doesn't involve other people, I think that's the beauty of what we do to venture into our sort of pet projects. Follow your passion. Don't overcomplicate uncomplicated things. If you find it difficult to focus on one thing, it happens to me a lot. I take myself out of an environment that has too many distractions. So I have a home office, love it, but it's so comfortable that I get so many distractions of listening to music, doing this work and that work. So I take myself out of the environment. I go to Coffee Bean and have a coffee with my laptop, and somehow being in a different environment allows my workflow to be very centric, and it gives me more focus. So change the environment is my advice if you feel you get stuck in the current loop because everything is always the same. And it's the same reason why any people from the government here, government bodies? I do work with KBS and KKM and KPM. And they always tell me, Kevin, when you come, you give us all of these different ideas because they don't see anything else. They only see what they see in their silo because day in and day out, that's all they see. They always see the same picture. So they cannot see different things. But when you come in as an outsider, your perspective is totally different. Jasmine came from the UK. And then when she comes here, she takes the UK perspective, and then she sees problems that she might not have seen before. And it's the same thing for you. If you always see the same problem, the same chaos, change your environment. Go somewhere else, go for a vacation, go for Coffee Bean or some coffee. Flat white or Americanos are fine. But yeah, don't worry, you're doing amazing. And I'm sure you'll be very, very fine as time goes by. Thank you, Zaza.
Thank you. I think there's a word for that. It's analysis paralysis, when we sort of like sit and we're not able to make a decision of what to do. Am I right, Yasmin?
Yes, correct.
Right. Thank you. So step out of your environment and find something different to allow your ideas to catalyze a little differently, right? Okay, so we are going to go into a little bit of light physical activity since we do have Kevin Zahri here. I hope you're feeling a little more empowered about what we can do for ourselves. Always remember, you are in control of your own decisions. But sometimes we also need pointers. So, Kevin, can you show us some simple exercises that we can do to move, especially when we've spent a lot of time being sedentary at a desk? And more importantly, have fun with it. And I'm going to have all of us stand up for this, please. Out of your seats, get on your feet. What are we going to do? I don't know. What are we going to do? Please show us.
All right, very, very impromptu. I think it will look great for the cameras as well, to give the photographers a photo opportunity. How much time do we have?
We have 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
We all have 3 minutes at a desk.
What can we do in this room? What can we do that's easy and simple? It doesn't require too much movement. Marches, yeah. So let's do some jumping jacks. Similar. Hoy, you kata nak kurus. So we'll do some lompatan bintang. If you are pregnant, don't have to do it. If you're wearing anything yang agak kebaya and all, don't go crazy. So we're gonna do lompatan bintang. How many times? Puan dan tuan-tuan. How many times? Jasmine, how many times? 2. Let's add it. We add a 0. We'll do 20 lompatan bintang. And then we will do squats. We can do squats. Also 20 times. So we'll do 20 plus 20. Boleh? Can or cannot?
Can. Let's do it.
So let's do, you can join us
On
as
your
well,
cue.
right?
On
So
your
we're going to
cue,
do
yes.
20 jumping jacks. Just be careful with your arms. Just keep it nice and tight. So let's go. Are you ready? Yeah, let's go. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Your feet have to leave the ground.
6, 7. Hey, Jasmine.
My mind!
8, 9, 10. 1. Can I hear you? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Last 2.
8, 9, and 10.
Amazing. Well done, everyone.
Not finished yet. Not finished yet.
Let's go. We got squats to go.
So squats 20 times. Yeah, so take it easy. If you have any knee or ankle problems, just take it easy. If you're wearing high-heeled shoes, you can take the shoes off. You have no excuse. No excuse. No excuse. Okay, 20 times. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 1. Yeah, down. Inhale. Yeah, exhale. Oof. 3.
I will go as low as my pants will allow me
4. And 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more. Now wait. Now pay attention. Yeah, pay attention. Okay, 1, down, hold it. 1, 2, up. Jasmine, I see you. Down. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, down. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Our last 3.
Down. 5, 6 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 more. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The last one. Come on. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Very good job.
Amazing. We made it, and we made it all together. Thank you so much for that, Kevin. Feeling good? We got that heart rate up. Body is a little warmer. They say somatic exercises is good for de-stressing. Sometimes that stress stays in the body.
I'm out of breath.
So now that we've done with that, we got the physical work done, okay? But like we said, mental health is equally just as important. I'm a little out of breath. Is that normal? So let's speak to Yasmin for a little bit. Are there any self-regulating exercises that you can teach us? Right? We have to practice it first, and then we'll teach it to you. So we're all going to practice some self-regulating exercises that we can do in real time when we are in a stressful situation, when we've just got out of a stressful situation, and we need to re-center ourselves before we get on to the next task at hand. You know, so can we?
Yes,
are we
Kevin
ready?
just put me through a stressful situation. So, hello? Okay. Okay, so one really good breathing technique that I always utilize is called 4-4-4-4. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, I want everyone to try this. You're gonna inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale out of your mouth for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hold that for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm out of breath from Kevin's. So this is a regulating breathing technique that you can use. The aim of it is just to make you stay grounded and focus on your breathing. I mean, you know, sometimes within that moment you felt like, I don't have any oxygen. That at least centers you and grounds.
Can we practice that again all together?
Of course.
Yes. Practice makes great. Not perfect, but great. So let's do it again one more time.
Okay, so everyone breathe in through your nose. Hold it for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. Okay, so breathe in through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then hold that for 1, 2, 3, 4. Everyone feeling better a bit? Calm down from that exercise? Thanks.
Thank you so much, Yasmin. I hope we're all feeling good. You got a little workout in. You also got a little exercise where we could recenter ourselves. And it's a simple exercise. You can do it anywhere, anytime. Really short one. Okay, so I enjoyed that a lot, and I hope you all did too. I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for being here today. Your presence has truly made this event special and very productive. We are so grateful to have had the opportunity to connect with you. Now, before we end, I'd like to share with you She Leads 4. Don't go broke in your golden age with financial planner and influencer Erin Adlina Adnan is happening on the August 27th. So if you purchase your tickets today, you will get a 20% discount only for today. And all you need to do is just scan the screen here right after this.